When an entertainment medium becomes as chock-full of AAA blockbusters as the games industry has become, weird and creative ideas begin to fade into the distance with greater intensity. But thankfully, 2021 has seen developers and publishers releasing some truly weird and unhinged games that, one way or another, defy expectations and do things that are just, well, unconventional, let's put it that way. This is a feature dedicated to such games. PSYCHONAUTS 2. A platformer that sees you literally jumping into the minds of people was going to be on this list, though it should be no surprise to anyone who played the first game. PSYCHONAUTS 2 uses its central conceit in truly ingenious ways, as the psyches of excellently written and complex characters are manifested in consistently creative ways, benefiting not just the story and visual design, but the gameplay as well. PSYCHONAUTS 2's aversion to being normal is one of its biggest strengths, and the fact that it can be weird without seeming like it's doing it just for the heck of it is quite an achievement. INSCRYPTION. What do you get when you combine psychological horror with a deck-building game? No one had even bothered asking that question until very recently, but INSCRYPTION actually answers it. And the answer is, you get one hell of a game. Playing a deadly game of cards against demonic forces while you uncover the many layers of INSCRYPTION's captivating story is easily one of the most weird gaming experiences of the entire year, and the game's outstanding art style and aesthetic only help it stand out that much more. Little Nightmares 2. Tarsier Studios' side-scrolling horror adventure Little Nightmares 2 builds on the strengths of its predecessors in all the best ways. Putting you in the shoes of a little, seemingly helpless child in a horrifying world full of striking vistas and grotesque and deformed monstrosities, this is a game that never seems to run out of creative juice. The sights and sounds of Little Nightmares 2 are unlike anything else you'll ever see, well, except in the first game. And it constantly uses those to great effect, delivering some of the most effective horror we've experienced all year. MUNDAUN. Speaking of effective, unusual horror, describing MUNDAUN as a first-person horror game might be accurate on paper, but that misses out on so much of what makes this game so unique. The biggest thing it has going in its favor is its art style, with every pixel and every frame and every second of the experience characterized by gorgeous hand-penciled visuals that are spectacularly animated. For its unique visuals alone, MUNDAUN is a game that should be experienced by everyone. BALAN Wonderland. BALAN Wonderland is an odd one out in this list because while almost every other game we're speaking of today is actually worth playing, this one is just a dumpster fire. But it is weird, there's no denying that. No, it's not weird in a good way, and no, it never uses its unusual ideas for anything that actually improves the experience in any way, but we can guarantee that if you do play this game, which you shouldn't, more than a few times, you'll quizzically ask yourself, what the hell is going on? Death Trash. Crafting Legends' post-apocalyptic action RPG Death Trash launched in early access earlier this year and flew under the radar for many people, but those who have played it will tell you that it's easily one of the most memorable games of the year. Its post-apocalyptic setting, its mix of modern action and old-school role-playing, its stiff challenge, the impressive mechanical freedom it offers to players, and its spectacular pixel art style all come together in a game that deserves way more attention than it's received until now. RETURNAL. Time loop games are a dime a dozen these days, which means that central concept is no longer enough for a game to be considered unique, but Returnal uses that concept in some rather interesting ways. Its mysterious and captivating story constantly pulls back layer after layer, interspersing its sci-fi time loops with aliens-inspired horror, Metroid-inspired isolation and exploration, and even PT-inspired first-person hallway jaunts. The collective result is unlike anything else we've played in a long time. Outer Wilds: Echoes of the Eye. We've got one last time loop game to talk about, and it's pretty much the mother of all time loop games. Outer Wilds was one of the best games of 2020, so it only makes sense that it would receive one of the best expansions of 2021. It builds on the excellence of the base game in all the right ways, delivering another mysterious and engrossing story while using its central premise to deliver one of the most mechanically interesting and layered gaming experiences we've had in years. Knockout City. A dodgeball game doesn't sound like a very weird concept, but Knockout City still feels rather different from the competitive PvP games we usually see these days, and that's not just because there aren't a lot of dodgeball games out there to begin with. Imaginative maps with creative hazards and hurdles, unique mechanics like literally being able to turn into a ball and be thrown around by your teammates, and so much more comes together in a game that delivers something you're not going to find anywhere else. Splitgate. Technically, Splitgate has been playable for a couple of years at this point, but like we've seen with more than a few indie multiplayer hits in recent years, it suddenly exploded in popularity this year, so it's only fair that we talk about it here, and it definitely is worth talking about. You wouldn't think that it would be possible to properly balance a PvP game that combines Halo's core gameplay with Portal's unique Portal mechanics. But that is exactly what Splitgate does, and as those who have played it will tell you every chance they get, it's an absolute blast. The Artful Escape. The indie scene in particular has taken quite a liking to telling heartfelt character-driven stories through games over the years, and while The Artful Escape does fall in that category, it goes about that in a very different way. Because this game is all about the music, and the music is spectacular. It combines those two core pillars with a psychedelic visual treat and simple yet effective platformer, and all of it comes together in a combined experience that stands out from the crowd no matter how you want to categorize it. SKATEBIRD. It's a game about skateboarding, but as a bird. That should be weird enough for you. If it's not though, when you actually play it, you realize that it actually uses that premise wonderfully, because the actual skate parks themselves are designed around that premise. You're skating in small bird-sized parks, grinding on pencils and flipping over erasers and what have you, and it feels surprisingly excellent and utterly enjoyable. It's Tony Hawk for small, adorable birds. Away the Survival Series. Breaking Walls' Away the Survival series has been on a lot of people's radars for quite some time. And though the final product is, frankly, a bit rough around the edges and doesn't entirely do justice to its unique concept, it does deserve props for its ideas, playing as a sugar glider and a number of other animals in the wild, while a narrator describes your every move is exactly as strange as it sounds. Tales of Iron. Tales of Iron starts off at the peak of a long-fought rivalry between two kingdoms, the frogs and the rats. After a sustained period of tranquility, the Rat Kingdom once again finds itself in peril as the aging king can no longer protect it. Of course, the heir to the throne is his son, who you control throughout the treacherous journey of rescuing and re-establishing the Rat Kingdom to its former glory. This won't come easy though, as legions of warty frogs revel at the chance to stand in your way. Tales of Iron never quite falls flat on its face. It's a functional and serviceable addition to its genre that gives players a well-realized world to experience and can provide some meaningful challenge, all while running respectably well. And that brings us to the end of the video. A quick request: we upload new videos every single day, and if you like what we're doing, please consider subscribing. It really helps us out. Also, don't forget to enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon so that you can receive daily video updates. Thanks for watching.